Valley Talk on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
And welcome to Valley Talk. The sun is shining once again here in the Mid-Willamette Valley. Can summer be far away? I love that word, summer. And a little bit of frost on the windshield this morning when I came into work this morning. But it's feeling nice outside, a little bit of spring in the air, and it feels nice. Thank you for enjoying us and for being with us today here on Valley Talk. We're actually working on booking some shows even a few seconds before I went on the air. We have an interesting show coming up Thursday. There is a pastor in Boise, Idaho, who is from Boise, Idaho, who has been jailed in Iran for preaching the gospel. And he's in a very tough prison over in Iran. We're going to be talking Thursday to his wife about how Sahid is being treated, what's going on with him over there, what they're trying to do. They're trying to raise awareness to keep him alive. And we're also going to talk to ACLJ, American Citizens for Law and Justice, during that interview. That's coming Thursday from 11:30 to noon right here on Valley Talk. So we're going to kind of go over the ocean a little bit and talk about something going on in Iran. And this pastor is from Boise, Idaho. So that's to make a note. We just confirmed that here, and we're working on getting it'll be a pre-recorded interview, but we will have that on Thursday, 11:30 to noon, right here on Valley Talk. So thanks for being with us for that. Today, we're going to take a look back at history in Lebanon. And former Mayor Ken Toomb of Lebanon was the mayor there for 10 years. You're on the show today. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good morning, and how are you, Dave?
Good. Average investment guy John Gibson is on the air with us today. And what we're trying to do with John now is, first part of the show, we're going to take a look at what's going on with the stock market, Wall Street, the economy, that kind of thing. We'll be doing that here in just a second. Do want to remind you to sign up for Quiznos Taste on Us. At the end of the show every day, we give away a $10 gift certificate to Quiznos in Albany. And you can register a couple different ways. You can send me an email, dave@kgal.com, or call the station at 451-KGAL or 926-KGAL. Say you're interested in Quiznos Taste on Us. Somebody at the end of the show is going to get a $10 certificate. That's good for sub sandwiches, drinks, chips, whatever. It's right next to Novak's restaurant and next to the former G.I. Joe Sporting Goods location in Albany. Dale and the crew there do a great job. Wonderful food. I eat lunch there every day. Heartily endorse it, and you'll enjoy it. Quiznos Taste on Us here on Valley Talk. Thanks to Dale and the crew for being part of the Valley Talk family here on KGAL. So send in those submissions. You have another 50 minutes to get your name into the drawing. John, what's going on Wall Street and the stock market?
Well, everybody's worried about the sequestration coming up on Friday. And actually, people are coming out going, we've always run up to the edge and had a deal at the end. Well, it ain't going to happen this time. So everybody's pretty well settled in that this is going to happen. I heard a stat last night that over the next 10 years, we're due to spend $46 trillion. And with this sequestration, it gets cut down to $44.8 trillion. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's that much of a cut. The thing that bothers me is that some of the cuts are automatic. And I don't think when it comes to defense that you should just go in and automatically start cutting stuff. There are other things that you could save and not to be, snide. But, I mean, when you're taking a $4 million Christmas vacation, then it's kind of hard when you tell me that, we should cut back. So I think there's lots of places that we could cut, and I think that's necessary. And I think it's going to be a good thing myself. I just think that, depending on how the press wants to report it, that's what's going to affect public opinion. But I hope it's a good thing. And it's not a cut. It's a reduction in the rate of growth, okay? Imagine if you knew every year you were going to get an 8% increase. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah, if I went to Charlie and said, Charlie, I'm going to get an 8% increase in salary every year.
And it's factored in. And then Charlie comes and says, well, things are kind of tough. I'm going to give you 5%.
Right.
Okay, that's what we're talking about. So the market, the market's had two really big swings over the last 2 weeks. One of them was when the one of the Federal Reserve guys came out and said, we're we're pumping $80 billion into the banks every month, but we might vary that from month to month. Boy, the market went crazy, and that's the day that we dropped a couple hundred points. Then yesterday, or the day before, we dropped a couple hundred points because of the elections in Italy. I mean, so that's how weird and how fragile everything is in our market right now, is that news like that, not that IBM missed their earnings. I mean, earnings season's going great, you know, and there's been a few misses, but it's the world stuff that's going on, and, you know, you can't factor that into your investment theories because you don't know what hammer's going to fall. So it's scary. That's why you should be rewarded with dividends and growth and low taxes for taking that risk of putting the money to work.
One of the things that I'm extremely disappointed, and I hope we have our elected representatives listening today. I don't know if they are or not, but you can hear us on KGAL.com or here in the Mid-Willamette Valley. I'm very disappointed, and I'm sure everybody is that our elected representatives can't seem to fix this. Whenever we talk about the budget, there's a movie out there. It's kind of a love story. It's a fun comedy, so on and so forth. It's called Dave. Now, I'm not a fan of the movie simply because, you know, I'm Dave, and the movie was Dave. So what happened in this movie is there was a normal guy that looked like the president. The president had a stroke. They found this guy. Oh, we'll just put this puppet in there and just pull his strings and tell him what to do. Well, this just common, ordinary guy, okay? All of a sudden, he's the president of the United States. So he says, okay, we're going to fix this budget. And they get around the round table, and he says, well, what we're spending this $25 million for, you know,
whatever,
chocolates in India or whatever. Yeah. And he says that, and they go, so, Mr. President, we can't do that because so-and-so likes it. Well, no, that's $25 million for chocolates in India. We're going to cut that because then he turns to the other guy and says, do you want to tell school kids in Indiana they can't have books because we have to buy this for somebody in India?
Well, I can tell you why it's broke.
So, but anyway.
Term limits.
The thing that I loved about that movie is an average common guy got in there using common sense on the budget and saying, you know, we don't need to spend the money on this.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the sequester cuts, it's across the board. We should be smarter, and we should have enough guts, and we should be common sense enough to sit around the table and say, you know, we need to get serious about this. And they won't do it because they're playing politics, and I'm sick and tired of it. That's what I think.
Well, if you had term limits to where you didn't have the gravy train, I mean, I'm sorry, but Peter DeFazio has been the representative of this county since I've been here in 2002. And over that time, I have never seen unemployment below 8%, I don't believe, in Lynn County. It's just, you know, I'm sorry. It's just people get in, they're supported by the unions, and it's a cycle. The unions get a grateful contract, you know, they get bonuses that I don't get, and then they give the money back to Peter DeFazio, and he gets reelected. It's just, I'm out of the loop. I don't count.
Let's talk to Ken Toomb. Now, you were mayor of Lebanon for 10 years.
That is correct.
How do you feel about term limits?
Well, I think it's a good idea. And I agree with John that you have to stop the cycle someplace. And the congressmen and the senators that have been in there for 20, 30, 40 years, they have paybacks that they have to do. Politically paybacks. And as soon as they get elected, then they start into their re-election mode. And it's just a continual cycle.
Yeah, it's sickening, and I just think there should be a better way to do it. So, let's say, well, let's just use you as an example. I'm throwing you a curve that we just kind of wandered into this conversation. It's kind of a bunny trail we're wandering down right now. But let's say mayor of Lebanon, there were term limits in mayor of Lebanon. You served for 10 years. How many terms was that? It was 4 years?
It's a 2-year term. It's five terms.
Okay, so you served 5 terms. So how would you feel if, let's say in Lebanon, there was a term limit, you could only run 2 times as mayor? How would you feel about that? You served 5 terms.
I served 5, but 3 of those were unopposed, and I would look at it as, did I do a great job, or nobody wanted the job? So I wouldn't be opposed to 4 years or 5 years, 6. It doesn't matter. But perpetual politicians, I'm against that.
They're lifetime career politicians.
That's correct.
Okay. It would take it away from the single man. Like everybody says, Ken, you did such a great job. And Ken's the humblest guy in the world. He's going to be the first guy to go, oh, no. Look at Bob Elliott. Look at Ron Miller. Look at Rebecca Grizzle. Look at all these other people. Mm-hmm. And so it makes it your party would have to maintain the direction of your reform. It wouldn't be one person leading the charge. So that's the problem with term limits, is you have to maintain what the gentleman before you started and then push that further along. And if you don't maintain that, then that breaks down. So that's the problem with term limits.
Now, I don't want to pick on Barack Obama. You do that a lot on the show, and I'm going to be accused of that about what I'm about ready to say. I want to pick up on a comment you said a moment ago. How much was that vacation to Hawaii?
$4 million.
$4 million. So we're spending, that just to me seemed like a stupid thing to do. Why are you taking a vacation in Hawaii when we're talking about trying to curb the national debt? And why are we taking cuts where we're going to across the board cut, and we're talking about cutting defense spending and maybe less bullets in the gun, and we're still taking $4 million trips to Hawaii? I don't understand.
I don't know if it was Michael Medved. It was somebody on this station. They did a report that the money that the Obamas spent on that vacation was more than the entire budget to fly the royal family around the world last year. The royal family of England.
Now,
that little vacation cost more than flying the royal family around the world.
Now, let's say there was a Republican in the White House.
It'd be all over the front line.
Well, okay, let's say there was. Okay, let's say it was Mitt Romney, and he did the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be screaming about the same thing. I don't care who it is. I just care that there was a body on that airplane. We spent $4 million on that vacation when we shouldn't be spending it.
The only difference is now the Democrat Herald would care if it was a Republican.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and the golf in Florida, yeah.
All right. Ken, thank you for being with us on Valley Talk today. One of the things that we were talking about before we got sidetracked on the bunny trail. First, before we go to that, anything else on the Wall Street, the economy?
No, let's
that
get
you want to
Ken.
talk about? So it's the sequester.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. I mean, the stock market will be fine.
They're going to go, well, they'll fix it eventually. And
Yeah, they'll cap it, they'll patch it, they'll do whatever they have to do. But I don't think it's going to be a big deal. And frankly, it might backfire. Obama's coming out and saying everybody's going to die. Well, what happens on Saturday morning? Everybody wakes up and we're all okay. I hate this scaring old people. This isn't fair. But that's what people want.
Ken, there's a lot... Thank you, John, for those comments. One of the things that we wanted to talk to Ken, now he was mayor in Lebanon for 10 years. Before the show, we started talking about urban renewal districts. And we had Tom Cordier on the show yesterday, and he's wanting, in fact, putting a measure in front of voters that Albany voters are voting on right now to limit the debt the city can incur. Do you have a position on that measure?
Well, I am in favor of urban renewal districts, so I guess I would be opposed to Mr. Cordier.
Okay, so he has two measures on the ballot. One is to limit the debt, and one is to limit urban renewal districts. Do you have a position on the debt measure?
Manageable debt is acceptable, and I'm not familiar with the Albany debt, but I think they go hand in hand.
Let's talk about urban renewal districts. You were saying before we went on the air, and editorially and with this show, we're not taking a position either way, either supporting or opposing those measures that Albany voters are voting on right now. But you were telling me that Lebanon used URDs quite successfully.
We were very successful and then continue to be successful. Our most successful URD, Urban Renewal District, is the Northwest Urban Renewal District, which includes the Lowe's store. There was expansion at Intac. Laticrete was another company that the Urban Renewal District dollars helped recruit to Lebanon. And we used the Urban Renewal dollars to put in infrastructure. We didn't remodel any buildings. We just put in the infrastructure that would be attractive and beneficial to the companies that we did recruit that came to Lebanon.
Now, one of the things critics of urban renewal districts have is this, that when an urban renewal district is put into a given area, there's a base level set for taxes, and the extra tax income from improvements in that district go to pay off the debt of the urban renewal district, correct?
That is correct.
And that's meant to say that, okay, if there's a new business coming to town, let's make sure the new business is paying for the infrastructure and not, the citizenry is paying for the new guy on the block, essentially what a URD does.
Yes.
What do you think about, and what's the mechanism in Lebanon? The measure says that if passed by voters, Albany voters will have to pass judgment on every URD proposal or increase in the current district. Do you think that ties the hands of the city?
I would think it does tie them in some respects, because you never know when a company is going to come knocking on the door that they're interested in. You use the we in Lebanon use the urban renewal monies to put in the infrastructure, so that we were prepared to offer Lowe's, Latacrete, these companies that came in. We were able to put in all of the infrastructure for them. Another urban renewal district as we have is the Gateway, which that's where the new medical school, Western University of Sciences, Comp Northwest as they call it, is located. And coming within the next 3 years, they're going to add a school of nursing, and that's all. Some of that was the improvements in the area is due to the Gateway Urban Renewal District. So in Lebanon, we've been very successful with our URDs.
How important were the URDs to bringing businesses like Comp Northwest and the medical facilities in?
I really don't think it would have happened without the URD, because the city did not have the funding nor the money to put in the infrastructure without the help of the URD.
So what then would you say to the critics of URDs that say, well, that's going to take money away from public safety, schools, city streets, even if it's just the extra income in tax revenue that funds the URD, that extra increase in revenue could go to the sheriff's office, or it could go to the police or fire or whatever. And times are tough, and everybody's really trying to make a dollar stretch as far as they can, and they want that extra money. So they're saying, we want that extra revenue.
The best example is Lowe's added approximately 450 jobs to the area. I don't have a number on the exact number that actually live in Lebanon, but it's in excess of 150. That is taxes that those 150 people are paying, and the property tax supporting the city of Lebanon. So Lowe's got a break on that, about $10 million break on that. They're paying in excess of $1.5 million in taxes every year. So within 5 years, 7 years, they will pay back the $10 million that the city of Lebanon put in the Lowe's project, and that was a great investment.
And then from after that, they get it's all gravy.
After
so to
that,
speak.
it's all goes into the taxing of the county and the cities and the state and everything else.
They didn't tell us that they were coming. I mean, they were bidding with some other city, and Ken and these guys, went out on a limb and did all this infrastructure. And one day we're down there with golden shovels, and Ken and John and a couple of other city councilors are doing this shovel ceremony. But up until then, they didn't know that they had a guarantee deal with Lowe's. So if we hadn't have done that, they certainly wouldn't have come.
Okay. Interesting comments. The interesting thing about the issues, especially the URD and tax limitation in Albany,
and that we got to this point. I mean, when I moved up to the valley in 1978, I was 18, and I would drive through Lebanon to go to Hoodoo, and 34 was a 2-lane road. And Ken, you can talk a little bit about what a difference Highway 34 meant to Lebanon.
Well, I really think that the widening of Highway 34 was the the catalyst that helped Lebanon develop the economics of the community, because it did open up transportation to the freeway. That was a factor in Lowe's, because they had easy access to the freeway. Other companies, the shipping, were 7.5, 8 miles from the freeway. It's all 4-lane now to the freeway, and that was a tremendous boost to the community.
And it seemed to be kind of a struggle to get it built.
Well, it was a real struggle. Ironically, the 4-lane on Highway 2034 was widened to 4-lane between Lebanon and Sweet Home, and then it was 4-lane from the freeway to Corvallis. So you had that 8-mile space in there that was strictly 2-lane, and it was a struggle to get that onto the state's plan. And it wasn't until the county decided that they were going to resurface Highway 34. They took that money, and then at that time, Senator Maye was instrumental in securing the additional funding, so that the county took the money they were going to put into resurfacing at that. Maye was instrumental in getting additional funding to make it a 4-lane road, and in my opinion, that was the real catalyst for the economic development.
And I kind of had the feeling that Albany and Corvallis kind of went, ooh, we didn't like that very much, because all the business was going west.
We need to take a break right now. We'll be back with more on Valley Talk. Don't forget to sign up for Quiznos Taste on Us. Send me an email, dave@kgal.com. Put Quiznos Taste on Us on the subject line, or call the station 451-KGAL or 926-KGAL. And we'll be back with more with former Mayor of Lebanon, Ken Toomb, and average investment guy, John Gibson, here on Valley Talk. Stay with us.
If you have lived in the Mid-Willamette Valley for just a short time, or possibly most of your life, you probably know a lot about Mennonite Village of Albany. In fact, their reputation is well known throughout the Pacific Northwest. They are a faith-based community in the Mennonite tradition of faith, family, and friendship. As a continuing care retirement community, they provide housing and support services designed to meet the changing needs of persons of all faiths and beliefs. The Mennonite Village offers a variety of retirement living arrangements, including active living homes, congregate living apartments, assisted living apartments, Alzheimer's and dementia care, and nursing and rehabilitation. As a nonprofit organization, their rates for these services are quite reasonable. Right now is a perfect time to contact Gene Stutzman for a tour of the Mennonite Village to check them out at 5353 Columbus Street Southeast in Albany. Online at MennoniteVillage.org, or call 541-928-7232. That's 541-928-7232.
Steve Holy brings his pop country sound live in concert to the Lake County Fairgrounds, Saturday, July 20th.
Good morning, beautiful.
Concert is free with your general admission ticket. Limited reserve seating is just $15.
Mine was wonderful. I got a brand new girlfriend.
Steve Holy. Go online to LinnCountyFair.com to purchase your tickets today.
Out to LA for the weekend.
You depend on your car, and you depend on your mechanic to keep that car running right. Depend on Waukoma Auto and Radiator Service. Over 70 years of combined experience repairing and servicing all late model cars. ASE certified master technicians Chuck, Bill, and Wally are TechNet professionals, offering the latest computer diagnostics, affordable rates, and a nationwide warranty on all parts. Waukoma Auto and Radiator Repair is in Corvallis on Cornell, just off 9th Street, down from the Goodwill. You can depend on Waukoma.
From Lassen RV, we want to say thank you to our customers and friends for helping us have the biggest year ever. But now we have a problem. We don't have any old age inventory left for a clearance sale. So we've decided to put our brand new models on sale and call it our Customer Appreciation Sale. All of our new RVs are marked down to the right price for your convenience. And if you can't make it in today, that's okay. We're going to hold the price down for you. Lassen RV, where friends send their friends.
Lassen RV, off I-5 in Albany, exit 233. The Albany Public Schools Foundation presents the iRun. Don't be confused. This is not a new exercise device. This is the iRun for Kids 5K run walk and 10-mile run on Saturday, March 16th for the Albany Public Schools Foundation. Register online at albanypublicschoolsfoundation.org. I Run for Kids proceeds support Albany Public Schools Foundation's Classroom Grants Program, enriching the education opportunities for Albany Public School District students. Let's run together.
Home improvement will never be the same once you've heard The Money Pit. Saturday mornings on Smart Talk 1580.
Valley Talk, welcome back. Average investment guy John Gibson with us, as well as Ken Toomb, former mayor of Lebanon for 5 terms, 10 years. Thank you for the service to your city, and thank you for being with us on Valley Talk today. One of the questions that I have for you, Ken, is you've had 10 years, a decade working for the city, economic development. Lebanon, in a lot of ways, has some victories under its belt.
Huge victories.
Yeah, Confluence West and the medical campus, and they're growing, and they've got the veterans home there. Based on your experience or what advice would you give to other cities in the state of Oregon, not necessarily Albany, Lebanon, but as you have the microphone now and you have a chance to share from your knowledge base with budgets and everything going on with cities, if you're just sitting there and saying, if I could tell cities a couple things, this is what I'd tell them. What would you tell them?
Well, I'd tell them to open the doors first.
What do you mean by that?
Be willing to welcome any companies that you think would be a betterment for the community, but do everything you can to take out the land use and the state roadblocks that we have for economic development in this state. And that's infrastructure, that's all of the rules that apply for new businesses, that there are definite roadblocks. You have to have all of the land use laws in force, and we adhered to all of those land use laws that were applicable to the city of Lebanon and the Lynn County, but we did our best to help the companies, prospective businesses coming into town, to help them get through the maze of regulations. And I would recommend the one thing that would be to help a company get through all of the maze of regulations that the state and the counties has put on businesses.
Is Oregon a business-friendly state? I hear arguments both sides.
Well, there's arguments on both sides, but I think that Oregon has some of the strictest land use laws in the United States, and I'm from Idaho originally. That was where I was born and grew up in far eastern Oregon, but in visiting the Boise area, and then my mother still is alive and lives in Emmett, Idaho, I see the development over there going much faster than it does in the state of Oregon.
Land use laws in Oregon are much more restrictive than Idaho.
Yes.
So it's what you're saying is it's very important that we have, and the term that I'm going to use here is shovel-ready land. Shovel-ready land is turnkey. It's ready. Of course, it depends on the business that's coming in and get ready to dig and turn shovelfuls of dirt to start building. If you don't have shovel-ready land, you're kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit, aren't you?
Well, sometimes you're 2 to 3, maybe 5 years out before you can get all of the permitting process completed. So to have shovel-ready land means that you're immediately able to entertain a company that would come in to the area, rather than have to go through all of the public hearings and everything that you would have to if you started right now. To get through all of the public hearings that it would require, it would probably take a 2 to 3 year period before you could actually get that permit and have that land shovel ready.
Not only is it land use restrictions and stuff, which is basically what killed Lebanon when the Spotted Owl and the environmentalists got the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to shut down our forest. We had, Ken and our group, I kind of feel like, we did the new Walmart, Lowe's, all sorts of different businesses. We had stiff opposition from a group of people that wanted Lebanon to stay just a quiet little retirement community, basically. And I think when the leader of that group was asked by a former Chamber of Commerce person, don't you want kids to be able to graduate in Lebanon and stay here and raise a family and have living wage jobs? And he says, no, let them go to Corvallis or Albany. Not the exact quote, but his answer was not what I would think any Lebanon resident would want to say. And so that's what we all had to deal with also, was people fighting every step along the way. And now I see them in Walmart. You know, I see them in the other businesses that they were opposed to. It's like, well, aren't we all better off? I think Lebanon is better off. I mean, I want my property value to go up. You know, that's why I want Lebanon to thrive. It's a very selfish theory, but, you know, I don't want Lebanon to become a place where kids have to leave. That's Ken's his biggest legacy. Kids no longer have to leave town to get a real job. That's what Ken did. So
one of the things that I've found in the cities, I've been in Bend. I was in Bend, Oregon for 6 years, over in Idaho, in Ontario, Boise Valley for a couple decades, New Zealand for 9 months, covered a little bit of news over there. And one of the things that I've constantly run into is you've got, I call them the growth and the no-growth people. No-growth people are, you know what? I like it just like it is. Don't turn a stone. Don't change a thing. I like the fact that this old barn has been standing for 50 years. I like that old barn there. I don't want you to tear it down to put in a new Walmart. I just want things just like they are. I want to live up, and I want to be born. I want to live, and I want to die in the community, and I want it just a small town that it is now. And on the other side, you have the growth people that say just exactly what you said. I want my sons and daughters to be able to, I want to see my grandkids grow up, and I want them to be able to get a job here without having to move to Portland. Was that constantly an argument you had in Lebanon, was the growth, no growth?
Oh, yes. It was, the basic argument was, I want it like it was when I moved here. Well, when my wife and I moved to Lebanon, the city limits was the canal, 6,000 people, and there were people at that time saying, I don't want Lebanon to grow. They fought every growth every opportunity to grow. And as we acquired these companies that came into Lebanon, there was still the old school. As I moved here from out of state, a lot of California. We left a mess in California, so we're gonna stop everything in Oregon. And so my question to him was, you came to Lebanon, now you want to shut the door and not let nobody else in. And if you don't, in my opinion, if you don't continue to grow, you're going to die, and you'll die on the vine. And a community to be prosperous has to grow, in my opinion.
So you're one of the philosophers that says you can't just stand still. You're either going backwards or you're going forwards, but life is in motion, and you're either going forwards or you're going backwards.
It's like a person said, you either lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, the definition...
They added a little bit colorful adjective to that, but we'll leave that out.
Well, the definition of capitalism is you need an ever-expanding market. You know,
right.
So the whole idea of just, you know, maybe you could do it with socialism or some kind of communism or something, or communalism, but capitalism, you have to have an expanding market, otherwise it doesn't work. And so it just makes no growth thing just never made economic sense to me, you know?
I guess one of the things, this is just my opinion, but if you have a community that everybody, let's take a point in time. Let's take now, for example. Now, let's say a community doesn't grow, and let's say the same people that are there now that came from California or Idaho or wherever, boy, I like it just like it is. Let's just keep it like it is. Those people are going to grow older and older and older, and if you don't create family wave jobs, then eventually those people are going to wind up in the cemetery, and the town's going to be a ghost town.
With no real leaders anymore.
Because you don't have any new blood, you don't have any new bodies coming into the town to create new citizens, because the ones that are here, if they're going to grow old and die, that's just kind of how we're all, that's the facts. And if you have a community, and I've seen a lot of communities where they don't grow, and if I named some names here, Ken, you'd know some names, but I don't want to embarrass any communities. But there's some communities over on the eastern side of the state, very small, they're not growing. And you drive through there, and it's like a ghost town.
Well, Dave, I went to school with your all through grade school and high school with your father, Wayne.
Right.
And our hometown,
Nyssa, Oregon,
right on the Snake River. When my wife Thelma and I moved to Lebanon, Nyssa was 2,200 population. Today's population is around 3,000.
Wow.
So that is a community that has been stagnant, hasn't grown, and the major industry in that community was the Amalgamated Sugar Company. Sugar beets, and that has shut down now. They no longer operate the factory. All of the sugar beets that are raised in the Treasure Valley go to Nampa now for processing. Right. So Nyssa is a community that has just been stagnant for 50, 60 years.
And one of the things that happens when that happens, and I hate to pick on Nyssa as an example, that's where both of my parents, that's my roots are in that community. So, I've got something to be thankful for that community, because that's where I'm from. Like, that's where my roots are. To make a roots movie about me, it'll be in Nyssa.
That'd be a boring movie, Dave.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Well, Nyssa's an exciting town, though, when we were growing up.
There you go. But one of the things that happens when a community stagnates and there's no new money, it tends to attract crime. And it gets run down, and nobody wants to live there. Nobody wants to move their businesses there. And you're back to this argument that I have, is if you're either going backwards or you're going forwards. But life doesn't stay the same.
Yeah.
The buildings get old, the people grow old and die, and if your community isn't attracting new blood and new bodies, then it's going to wind up like Nyssa. And I hate to say that, because a lot of my relatives still live there. Got some very fond memories of growing up into that community. So I love the community, but it's a great example of what can happen. And that's the community I was thinking of when I was mentioning, I didn't want to mention any names, but we've got it out there, so let's talk about it.
You destroy the economic base, just like in Lebanon here. We were timber, they were timber. I was in Corvallis.
Right.
And there was lumber mills and big pickups, and then, boy, I tell you, in the 80s, everything shut down. And the problem, like with Nyssa, or what we're doing to our national economy, or what happened in the 80s to Lebanon, is by the time you get to the point that you realize it sucks, it's too late. You have to stay ahead of the curve, and I think that's exactly what Lebanon had for the last 10 years. And I have faith in Paul Aziz. I know him. He's taught me classes, computer classes. He's a good guy. He'll do all right. But our community has gone from being divided to where we've all kind of come together. And
in Lebanon?
Yeah, and this Friends of Lynn County thing has kind of gone away, and it seems like we're all kind of pulling together. I think Lowe's is over with. Walmart was a huge issue. That was a huge fight. You weren't here for any of that, but there was a drive-in at the south end of town.
Right.
And the happiest guy in Lebanon was the guy that owned the drive-in, because Walmart wanted to buy that property, and he wanted to go to Alaska and go fishing. Everybody else was fighting. So it all got done. He didn't get paid any money for it. We should be honored to have Ken as a mayor, and he left some big shoes to fill.
Okay, we need to take a break on that note, and we'll be right back here on Valley Talk. And don't forget to sign up for Quiznos Taste on Us. Email address dave@kgal.com or 945. What is the number? Can't tell this is live radio.
This is not live radio, people. This is really all fake.
It is 451 KGAL or 926 KGAL. 451 KGAL or 926 KGAL. Had a senior moment there. It's okay.
It's all right.
We'll be right back.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by Regis. Let Regis help you to focus on your business while they take care of your workspace needs. Get 2 months free on a fully wired and furnished office. Call 1-800-OFFICES. This is Charles Osgood. 2 British designers have come up with a wonderfully low-cost, low-tech, high-impact source of light for a third of the people on Earth. It requires no batteries, no kerosene or fuel of any kind, and there's no running out of what it runs on, which is gravity. Jim Reeves is one of the 2 creators.
So the product consists of the generator ambient light unit. It's shipped in a very robust bag which takes ballast. You take it out of its bag, you fill this bag with gravel, sand, soil. You attach the bag, you hang the product, and when you lift the bag, then you have your light source.
More after this. Businesses, from startups to Fortune 500 firms, have something in common. They're intentional, they focus on success, and they don't get distracted. And many successful businesses have something else in common. They work from a Regus office. Your beautifully furnished wired Regus office can be ready when you need it, with a receptionist, access to meeting rooms, and state-of-the-art video conferencing, all with no long-term lease. Regus is the new way to work. Call 1-800-OFFICES and get 2 months free when you mention Osgood. That's 1-800-OFFICES. In this moment, who has your back? An insurance company delivering excellence during your claims process? Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. Let an Auto Owners independent insurance agent have your back, so when the unthinkable happens, you get the claim service you deserve. For J.D. Power and Associates award information, go to jdpower.com. Find your local independent agent at autoowners.com. The Gravity Light is designed to sell for around $5. Each 3-second pull on the bag produces a half hour of useful light. It's cheaper than solar technology. Co-creator Martin Ritterford can explain that.
The trouble with solar technology is that you have to charge a battery with the solar power that you've gained from the sun, then use the battery power to power at night. So it was really important to find the cheapest way of supplying reasonable quality light to these people.
To these people, the Gravity Light can be a giant leap forward. Right now, says Jim Reeves,
A third of the world's population is off-grid. So you've got large communities across Africa and India and South America and even Northern Europe and into Russia where power is either intermittent or absent. So we want to take a large number of the devices out to the intended end users, get feedback on how the product would perform in the field. It's very different from the conventional solutions that people will be familiar with.
To them, changing the world is, to use our late colleague Eric Severid's phrase, not so wild a dream. The Osgood File. I'll see you on the television come Sunday morning on CBS. This is Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
Banking these days can be pretty impersonal. You've got your big banks, your internet banks, your do-it-yourself banks, and your too big to fail banks. That's wwilliam you might be interested in an alternative. Willamette Community Bank. Hello. This is Bill Higbee, residential lender. You deserve better service without sacrificing a thing. So if you're feeling underserved, make the switch to the best banking option out there with branches in Albany and Lebanon.
Willamette Community Bank. Service like no other. We promise. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Jay Farner here from Quicken Loans. We get a lot of tweets from folks that sound just like this. Jay, I bought my home in 2007. Since then, it's gone down in value. Now I owe more on my mortgage than my home is worth. Can I refinance? The answer may very well be yes. Recently, the government announced changes that may allow folks to refinance even if their home has lost value. For example, if you owe $300,000 on your mortgage, but your home's only worth $150,000, Quicken Loans may still be able to help you. Or if your current mortgage rate is higher than 3.99%, you've got to give us a call today at 800-QUICKEN. And for 3 years in a row now, J.D. Power and Associates has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. So if your current mortgage is higher than 3.99%, or if you owe more than your home is worth, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
For J.D. Power and Associates award information, visit jdpower.com. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Science and Common Sense. Dr. Bill Wattenberg will surprise you Sunday nights live on Smart Talk 1580.
Valley Talk, Dave Adams with you. Glad to have Ken Toomb, former mayor of Lebanon, with us in the studio. 10 years mayor, 5 terms, and average investment guy, John Gibson, just sitting here talking about one of the things we want to give a little love to Nyssa, Oregon. Now, we kind of we're very somewhat uncomplimentary, people might say. I'm surprised I didn't get any emails about that. But one of the things that we were talking about during the break was the school system in Nyssa is a really great school system. When I ran track, I went to school in Payette, Idaho. And whenever we would have a track meet in Nyssa had an awesome track. In fact, it was one of the best in Oregon, wasn't it?
It was at... when it was first developed into an asphalt track, it was the only track in the state of Oregon that they considered a better track was at the University of Oregon. Joe Albertson, who has Albertson, had founded the Albertson food chain, donated a lot of money to Nyssa for the I think that J.R. Simplot also donated some money, but they did develop the fantastic school facilities. It's a great school, a huge gym, multi-gym, and of course the football, baseball, track facilities are some of the best in the state of Oregon. And I do want to assure everybody that the school system in Nissa, Oregon is one of the best in the state of Oregon.
And it was a good track to run on, too. It had kind of a rubberized mat to it, and it was, compared to all the other tracks in the schools around that area, the Nissa track was awesome to run on.
There's some hard-working people there, too, man.
Yeah, a lot of the other tracks were gravel and cinders, and you could really get some spring on that Nissa
Well, we
track.
used to get our track when I was in school was surfaced with the cinders from the sugar factory.
Yep.
Right.
And if you ever, running the hurdles, if you ever fell on the track, it opened your knees up because the cinders were so sharp. But now they have just a beautiful asphalt track.
And, isn't it nice? Rich guys doing good things with their money. How come we never hear stuff? Now it's evil rich guys, Here's two guys. How many kids do you think have benefited from that track and that school?
It's still there.
I think the richest guy in the graveyard's a sinner,
Well, thanks to Albertson, he did a lot of very, very nice things in Southwest Idaho and other places. College of Idaho. College of Idaho and Caldwell benefited greatly from.
They did
Albertsons.
change that to Albertson College,
Yes,
and
they
then
did.
it went back to College of Idaho.
Wouldn't it be great?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be great to have that impact on so many people? To have been that guy.
Yeah. We just need to go out and make some money.
Well, yeah.
And then give some of it away.
Yeah. I used to until I found a family.
Charlie Eads has a commercial or a public service announcement that runs on KGAL. It says, one of the great things about making money is giving some of it away.
Having more money than you need is the line.
There
it's
you
like,
go.
wow, what?
So back to why we digress here a little bit, go off on another bunny trail. Sometimes it's kind of fun to do that. But Ken, as we think about other advice to give other cities in the state of Oregon with everything going on, what would that be? Anything from your decade of experience?
Well, I go back to the open the door up, let everybody know that you're open for development, that you embrace it, and that you're going to do everything you can to help get through the land use maze that we have in the state of Oregon.
What about some fun stories? Do you have anything that you can share on the air without getting us in trouble with the FCC?
Well, one of the, in fact, you alluded to the gentleman that was that appealed everything that we did. He came into my office when I had my own insurance agency and said that he was against the Walmart development. And I asked him why, and he says, "Well, I don't want that." And I said, "But there's thousands of people that want something like that." And he promised me that if we voted for and we approved the Walmart, that he would appeal every land use application that we had.
Hold you hostage.
And he kept his promise.
Oh.
He appealed every one we had, and
how much money do you think that cost us?
Oh, it was up into the hundreds of thousands of dollars because of the delays and all of the appeal process that we had to go through. We had to hire attorneys, and he basically was his own attorney. And
you have to understand, in this case, we were not represented by the newspaper industry. They were. So.
Okay. We need to take one more break here on Valley Talk. We're talking to Ken Toomb, former mayor of Lebanon, and we'll be right back here on the program in just a moment.
Going out to lunch at a nice restaurant can be expensive, and the big portions put you more in the mood for a nap than a productive afternoon. Mama's Fine Italian to the rescue. The small appetite senior menu is just right. Anyone and everyone is invited to order from the Light Appetites menu for lunch from 11 to 4 p.m. with tasty entrees beginning at only $3.95. Why go hungry or go anywhere else for lunch? Eat healthy, eat light at Mama's. Closed Sunday and Monday, so make the most of Tuesday through Friday and join your friends at Mama's for lunch. Dinner only on Saturday. Mama's features charbroiled steaks every day. Make reservations for dinner or pick up a bottle of fine wine. Seating is limited, so please call for reservations. 541-451-5050. That's 451-5050. Mama's Fine Italian and Wine Shop on West Oak between Main and 2nd in Lebanon, across from the Big Blue Napa Auto Parts Building.
Do you like to read? Then you should know that St. Vincent de Paul sells thousands of books at very low prices, and we're constantly adding to our inventory. So if you're looking for a good book at a great price, visit us today. We think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Shop St. Vincent de Paul, where you can have some fun, save some money, and do something nice for your neighbors. We're St. Vincent de Paul, and we're located at 2220 Southeast Pacific Boulevard in Albany, right next to Big 5 Sporting Goods.
Do you suffer from bleeding gums, loose teeth, or bad breath? Dr. Dennis Clark can help. With gently applied laser light, bacteria are killed and diseased tissue removed, which means less inflammation and a fast, comfortable return to firmer teeth and a normal routine. Dr. Clark has been gently caring for his Mid-Valley patients for 25 years.
Hello, this is Dr. Dennis Clark. We do offer a full range of services: smile makeovers, oral surgery, and Invisalign wireless braces. But you don't have to leave your favorite dentist to get this amazing solution to your gum problem. I will gladly work with your dentist to help you with your gum problem without changing dentists.
Dr. Clark's skillful use of laser periodontal therapy will dramatically help. Bleeding gums heal, loose teeth tighten, the bone even grows back. For a free consultation about the no-cut, no-sew, no-fear solution for infected gums, loose teeth, and bad breath, call the Laser Dentist. Dr. Dennis Clark in Lebanon at 451-1440. 451-1440.
Horse lovers, get ready for another great ride in March. Hi, this is Rick Lamb of The Horse Show, Sundays on KGAL. You've heard my radio show or seen me on RFD TV. Now join me in person at the Northwest Horse Fair and Expo, coming to Albany. I have several presentations on different topics you'll want to attend, and of course you'll want to see the exciting clinics and entertainment, colorful exhibits, and shop at the trade show. Coming March 21st through 24th, it's the 14th Annual Northwest Horse Fair and Expo. I'm Rick Lamb, and I'll see you there.
The Morning Update, weekday mornings on News Talk 1580, KGAL.
And welcome to Valley Talk. A few more minutes in the show. We just got an email. We will have Thursday. You can go to the website and find out what I'm talking about, but there's a website called SaveSahid.com, and he's a pastor from Boise, Idaho, that's being held in an Iranian prison, and his wife is going to be on Valley Talk with a member of ACLJ, American Citizens for Law and Justice, talking about the persecution of Sahid and other pastors in Iran and others that are being held overseas for proselytizing or trying to convert people to Christianity. And so that's coming up Thursday here on Valley Talk from 11:30 to noon. Tomorrow, it's Willamette Community Bank. Joan, I hope I get your last name right, Joan Rukoff. She is the CEO there at Willamette Community Bank, and then we're also going to be talking about Salem Pops. That's coming up tomorrow. And then, of course, Sharon Canopa on her position on the courtier limitation measures is coming up on 11 to 11:30 Thursday. Save Sahid is 11:30 to noon on Thursday. So some interesting shows coming up. Ken, thanks for being with us on the show.
Well, thank you, Dave, and tell your dad hi.
I will. You've got about 30 seconds. Anything you want to leave us with?
The things that are in the process of being completed right now. There's a new dialysis center that's on the hospital property just north of the college. A nursing school is coming. That'll probably be in the next 2 to 3 years. That will be in partnership or be part of the Comp Northwest. A thing that I think a company, or not a company, but Lynn Benton Community College is going to open up a auto technology center that will be open sometime this year. And then the fourth thing that's coming is the new hotel that's coming in on the campus at the community college.
And on that note, we have to say goodbye. Enjoy the sunshine. If you go by Nyssa, Oregon, tell the folks hi. We love them, and you have a great day. This is Valley Talk.
Thank you, kid.
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.